And so, because you are that, you are capable, you are gifted, and you are so unique. All of the things that you may hate about yourself are your strengths. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to be different. And it's so okay to just be you. The world awaits to receive you.
Blessings. Welcome to Unsisted Like Me Talk. Hey, family. I haven't been live in a while. Blessings, and I'm glad to have you here. I appreciate you guys. Today, we're going to get right to it, okay? One, I want to say thank you for being here. You know, it's been a rough patch. There's a lot of things going on outside and on the YouTube streets that we're going to continue to talk about. As you see, what I bring you is going to kind of, how can I say, get some of those synopsis gap going. And the neural brains going, get you start thinking out the box. But without that being said, today we're going to do something a little bit serious. First, I want to send a shout out to Debt Free Dad. Okay, so yesterday he did a live on this particular topic. Atlanta doctor have to pay 2.225 million dollars for posting a decapitated baby's head on Instagram. Now, this is something that I knew about. This is something that I did not want to talk about, but I said, you know what? This is something that we do need to talk about. Now, you guys know, if you've been following my page and you look at some of my personal videos, I am a registered nurse of over 12 years, going on 13 years. And I have been a contract nurse for about 9 years of that time. In this particular facility, I do have in person and true encounters as being a travel nurse at this facility for at least a year, as well as this was one of the first facilities that I worked at. Well, second, when I came to Atlanta as a registered nurse. So, also, this is one of the facilities that made me want to walk away. Okay. So, what I'm going to do there before we get to the story about the doctor and what he did, because I actually have some inside information about this. I do know the nurses who work at this facility or did at least up to last year. And I just wanted to let you know that I wasn't surprised. But let's do a quick flashback, okay? This was Nurse Lashley, 2023. Okay, this particular video can be found on my Rumble page. I do have a Rumble page called Nurses to Nurses News Network, where I cover healthcare topics. I have not been active on that page for a while because of certain content has been keeping me busy in investigations. But this was actually a page that I used for therapy. I'm going to be honest. When I left nursing or was in the role of leaving nursing, I had to get out a lot of the things that I went through. So this is one of the videos that I actually talked about my encounter with this particular hospital. We're not going to get deep into the total encounter, but I want you to hear the intro, and then I'm going to leave the link below so you can look at some of the videos of Nurse Lashley. This was in 2023. Okay, this is about 2 years ago. So let's play this real quick. Thank you for being here. This is a topic that touched my heart. We're going to be talking about two topics. The topic involving the decapitated baby situation, as well as the young lady who was comatose and forced to have a baby. Okay, so let's play this. One of my first videos that I wanted to share with everybody. Excuse the volume. As a registered nurse. And I first want to say shout out to all the nurses. I may say some things that offend you through a lot of my broadcasts, but everything is said out of love, compassion, and evidence-based care. Now, I've been a nurse for over a decade. Mind you guys that this is like my starting out broadcast when I was learning how to broadcast, when I finally decide, okay, I'm going to take it seriously and I'm going to try to leave nursing. So the sound gets better. I've been traveling in healthcare for over 7 years, and I have a lot that I want to share. And I will share it in the utmost confidentiality but I believe that the general public should know what really goes on in healthcare and why someone like me is at my last straw. The way I look at healthcare, we're gonna get a little comfortable. The way I look at healthcare, honestly, my position as a nurse, it's like an abusive relationship. I don't know if you can hear me. Wait. Oops, I got my mic loud enough so you guys can hear me because I want y'all to hear everything. So the way I look at nursing, I look at it as an abusive relationship. As a person, man or woman, when you're in a relationship with someone you love, you have undying love for, and you have a commitment to. Sometimes when the person abuses you, you go through it and then you may want to leave, but then you come back because something draws you back. And I'm not disregarding physical abuse, but mental abuse is real. And this is how I feel towards healthcare. It's like being with a man that beats me when I come to see it, when I come to serve him, when I come to give love and compassion, and that man works me to the bone. Don't care if I eat, sleep, breathe, uses all of my vital energy to get what he needs. In this case, I'm comparing that man or abusive relationship to the healthcare system. All right, and I'm gonna stop right there because that video gets really deep, and this is the first time I watched it in a while, y'all. So it really hit my heart because, and I'm glad that I'm able to show this and not cry because when I used to watch this, like I'll go back and I couldn't even do it. So a lot of healing has taken place. So I want you guys to kind of get a little foundation of where I come from, where my perspective is. I have love and I have respect for healthcare, but I know there's a serious issue, and especially when it comes to the way they treat us in the Black community. So, with that being said, the rest of that video is going to be that the link is going to be at the bottom. In that particular video, I go into talking about my experience with this particular hospital that we're going to talk about today. What we're going to do is talk about the decapitated situation, the insight that I know about it, and then maybe I'll give you a little bit of what I went through. But if you really want to see it, I advise you to click the video. Just know that patient's life was on the line, and I was literally doing CPR almost by myself. With that being said, now this particular situation involves a young lady and her boyfriend or husband, fiance, and they were in the middle of labor. And this particular hospital is located in Atlanta. So I'm going to start at the beginning, kind of like what's happening now and kind of flash back. As you know, as I mentioned, I have traveled most hospitals in Atlanta, and I can tell you about all of them. You know, I have one top pick, which is Emory, the one that's in Atlanta, not Midtown, on the outskirts by Decatur, by the law library. And that's all I can tell you about Atlanta hospitals. But with that goes to say, that's the one I would recommend to you, being highlighting that I have worked at most of them. And I'm being honest. We'll get into that. Now, Grieving Parents award $2.25 million after Georgia doctor plastered video of their decapitated baby on social media. So this is the this is the first lawsuit that went through. Honestly, I think it's going to be a second lawsuit that's going to be focused on the hospital and focus on the particular doctor who was involved in this. And I'm going to tell you why, because the news is not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. So a Georgia couple whose baby was decapitated during birth was awarded 2.25 million verdict after the pathologist posted graphic autopsy video on social media without their consent. Now, mind you, that was a little bit after the Ovid. So I was like, what was this man mindset to do that? Maybe because a lot of people was pushing medical freedom and teaching. I really couldn't understand, but people were kind of say he was trying to be a social media sensation, highlighting that we're in the middle of ATL, and that's what people try to do. So Dr. Jackson Gates and his Atlanta-based business will have to fork over a large sum of Jessica Ross and Mr. Taylor Sr. after a Fulton County jury found him liable of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and fraud on Wednesday. Okay, that's why you got to be careful what you post too, just regular people. All right. This young couple trusted him with the remains of their precious baby. Attorney for the grieving parents said nothing that the doctor poured, noting, it says noting, I do apologize, noting that the doctor poured salt into the couple's already deep wounds. Okay, so if you don't know what happened, this is the backstory on this particular situation. We're going to read what the news say, and then we're going to fill in some of the holes. We're going to bring up the next article. So the award that they receive is from the doctor, the pathophysiologist that actually posts the picture. So just be aware that the decapitation took place at the hospital, and the hospital is liable for what happened. So let's just look at this article. Police investigate lawsuit filed after baby alleged decapitation during delivery. We're gonna watch the video, the news broadcast video, real quick.
Local news happens here.
And I will say, at least this place ain't dirty like some of the other hospitals I worked at. I'll give this hospital that. Wellstar Midtown. Let me shut up. I'm doxing.
First developing at 5, Southern Regional Medical Center in Clayton County has responded after a mother and father say that their baby was decapitated during childbirth. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us tonight for Fox 5 News at 5. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Alex Whitler. Jessica Ross and Travion Taylor Sr. filed a lawsuit yesterday against their OBGYN and Southern Regional Medical Center. The hospital denies any wrongdoing. Today, they released a statement saying they offer their deepest sympathies, but the infant's death happened in utero prior to the delivery and decapitation. The hospital voluntarily reported the death to the Clayton County Medical Examiner's Office and is cooperating with all investigations. They say further details can't be released because of privacy laws and litigation. Couple's lawyers claim the doctor's negligence led to the baby's death, and the hospital tried to cover it up.
Dr. St. Julian came in and she, in the process of trying to deliver this baby, pulled on the baby's head and neck so hard and manipulated them so hard that the bones in the baby's skull, face, and neck were broken.
Gruesome details here. Family attorneys say nurses and medical staff at the hospital lied about what happened to the couple. The complaint states they dissuaded them from getting an autopsy. Dr. Tracy St. Julian declined to comment. The hospital also says she is not and has never been an employee of the hospital.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I'm having a little bit of post-traumatic stress, y'all. As y'all can see, I'm literally disgusted, but as I remember, I'm not surprised. So some of the factors in here that we're just going to address from what they said. Now, first thing is plausible deniability. And it's the same thing that I told the cops they need to be aware of. As a healthcare professional, I already know that if I make a wrong move, the insurance may pay out a liability, but my license may be on the line. And because of new presidents, there was a case a couple of years ago, just recently, where a nurse gave a tranquilizer instead of a sedative, and she didn't scan it in. Now, I don't think she went to jail, but I was following that, and I also posted that on the video. She was one of the first few who got found guilty. So I've been on it where it comes to knowing evidence-based practice and making sure that the patients receive it. And that's one of the things that you guys, as patients and the healthcare officials, you guys on your own, and you guys have to know what to expect. And I'm just going to be honest, because when you go into healthcare system nowadays, you don't know what you may be facing. All right. So the hospital plausible deniability, you know how they're doing that? Because allegedly this doctor, from what I'm being told, was a contractor doctor. You see what I'm saying? So what they're saying is that this doctor did not work for the hospital. Now, to my understanding, as told by one of my ex-colleagues, that yes, this doctor worked in the hospital for a lot of years, but as a contractor, you get paid a little bit more money, things like that, whatever. You have a more strenuous schedule, but a lot of us was coming in like that. This particular doctor was supposed to call the actual hospital OG OBGYN when she was having problems with this particular delivery. And what I was told is that she did not. It goes a little bit deeper because some of the things they were saying may not totally be true. Now, according to what I know about this particular situation, is that the mother was having a hard labor. And she asked the doctor, because she was in labor for a while, I think from the morning to the evening time. It was a lot of hours. And she asked the doctor, basically, can she induce her or can she get a C-section? So this doctor running around doing whatever she had doing, and that's usually because doctors are spread across floors, per se, or more than what they're supposed to have, kind of kept pushing and saying, no, you can have a regular delivery. Now, this is a story I'm being told by my colleagues, okay? And it came to a time where mom was like, she's going to start pushing, and they're going to really start pushing. So the doctor was not available at the beginning, according to what I was told. And mom started pushing. So when the doctor came in, as the baby was coming out, the doctor took over. Now, before that particular situation, I was told that the fetal heartbeat was still viable, that the baby still had a heartbeat, but they were starting to have issues. Basically, the baby heartbeat was starting to lower down. So it was like, hey, we got to do something. And mom kept asking for a C-section. Mom and allegedly dad, okay, in this particular situation. So what I was told, that the doctor came in pretty upset for some apparent reason. And I'll tell you why, because this is from the little encounter that I know of this particular doctor, and I'll tell you, it's just an attitude thing. These people walk with an ego on their shoulders, so you really don't know where it's from. But from what they said, that the baby's skull was pretty much crushed in areas in the face, so that would tell you that the baby was, grabbed harsh as the baby was coming out. Again, when the fetal heartbeat is going, everybody in the room can still hear it. So I know mom and dad was aware that the baby was still alive. That's why they say they know the baby was still alive. So this where it gets a little bit bad, okay? And I'm saying allegedly because this is a third party story that I was told as an ex coworker that worked there for many years at the beginning of my nursing career, and then I came back as a contractor on this terrible unit that you guys can listen to that story. Okay, literally ridiculous. So what I was told was the delivery was harsh, and the baby was delivered, and what they did was take a blanket and wrap the baby up, like swallowed the baby, when you swallow the baby really tight in a blanket, and like literally place the child's head on the baby. Now, this is what's so crazy to me, because you have a full delivery room, you have people that, or you have an anesthesiologist, if you do, that come in, you have the aides that come in, you have people who maintenance come in and out, not in a delivery, but they do have access to the area and things like that. So this is all the people who has to be subpoenaed to all of this. This is why I never played no games with the hospital. I never played no games with them, because everybody could be sucked up into this. Okay. So you got the doctors, you got the nurse, you got the tech, you got people who had to clean the room afterwards, what they found, anesthesiologists. Come to find out that they basically gave the mother another reason why the baby passed away. And the mother only found out that the child's head was dislocated and had so many injuries on the face from the actual coronary office. That guy who did the autopsy, the pathophysiologist, But instead of him being professional, like he was supposed to do, he decided to make it a learning moment and spread it on his Facebook page. So I'm gonna say just dealing with this particular hospital is not a surprise, because the night that I left there and said that I would never come back, I said that you guys are going to face such a big liability. And I also told the nurses that I work with, karma is, and you will be in these beds. There is a severe disregard in this particular hospital. I'm going to say on the unit that I was on, and being subjected not to that doctor directly, because the unit I was on was actually like a high intense tele unit. Now telemetry is not, well, telemetry is annoying. I'm gonna say it's different from ICU, but everything is, I'm so used to different stuff, whatever. It's just a different type of intensity. And they used to send some pregnant patients to our floor, depending on what medical problem. This was the second hospital who did that. But the first hospital who did that sent that patient to me. I made a video about that. I was not happy with that. Bad contract. But this particular hospital, when I came in, that lady was already assigned to someone. So that particular doctor that we're talking about, the OBGYN that was in on for the night shift, that is her. And she had to come up and do assessments, and it was so hard. I'm just gonna be honest, from observing from the back, because I ain't messed with her because she had a bad attitude. Yeah, I don't deal with, if I don't have to talk to them too much, I don't talk. I like it less is about the patient and that. I ain't saying, I'm just watching for the most part. So she was a little upset because the nurse kept calling and calling, and the nurse was nervous because we don't have a fetal heart monitor on our unit. So they had to come up every shift, once a shift, to do a fetal heart rate on the baby that's in the med surg unit, because the mother was there with preeclampsia, and they couldn't treat it in the OBGYN, so they'll bring it up to the tele floor, the med surg floor. Those floor, not med surg, because med surg can't handle it. The tele unit, while we monitor on the heart rate, and trying to get everything back, her blood pressure and everything together. So that's when I had an encounter with that doctor that they're talking about, which is, it was a lot of us who were contractors there. And that's another thing. And I'm not telling you guys to be afraid of hospitals, which you have to be aware. I'm going to be honest. There are a lot of new nurses and contractors, and a lot of us contractors, we on task. I'm just going to be honest. We make sure that we do what we have to do to protect our license, but then you have certain facilities that overstretch that and put people in bad situations. So you need to know the current environment when you're in a hospital, dealing with hospital staff. If your nurse is too busy, if you having signs and symptoms that they may not know about, go back over your care with them. Even if they get report from a nurse, there's times that I'll come in the patient room and go and look in the chart for the day and talk to the nurse, and she done came and told me, oh yeah, I've been having diarrhea all day and had some blood. I'm like, what? Nobody took an uncloak, because they don't want to do it. So I need you guys to be on point to those type of things. This particular situation hit me because that was one of the reasons. This was the hospital before my last hospital, which was in Jersey, that I stopped working at. Like, no more contracting in the hospital. Like, I will not. We're gonna watch this doctor real quick. This is not the doctor who delivered the baby, but the one who shared the video. Okay. And we still got to keep in mind that this is not going to be the only lawsuit, because the hospital's liable and they're trying to separate themselves from that doctor. So that doctor insurance company have to pay. It's going to be a lot of people named in the next lawsuit, for a second. All right, let's play this. And that's when we're going to get into what's going on in the hospitals with Black America. Are they really experimenting on us? Or is it experiment, or is it a lack of care? You see, and I'm going to talk about it. It's just a lack of don't care, or if it is really experiment. So this is the dude right here. Here we go. Let's play. I want to see if they show him. So what happened to the baby? So this is saying what happened to the baby. Let's see what the news say. At approximately 8 p.m., Ross was fully dilated. So they said she was, see, it was from the morning to the night. See, I remember the story, y'all. That's what the nurses told me. All right, said it was approximately, she was in labor all day. Approximately 8:40 p.m., Ross was fully dilated and instructed to begin pushing. And the complaint says that the baby stopped descending due to the shoulders dystonic. So the shoulders was turned another way while being delivered vaginally. So that's why they called the doctor up there. They called the doctor because they were trying to deliver it. Like the delivery can start to go through, honestly, without the doctor. It's sad to say. But when they needed to turn the baby, that's when they called the doctor. And I think the doctor was annoyed. Dr. Tracy Julian, MD, reportedly attempted to deliver the baby vaginally using different methods, including applying traction to the baby head. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, y'all. This really pisses me off. Excuse my language. It really does. After not being able to deliver the baby, Dr. Julian reportedly decided to perform a stat cesarean section approximately 11:49. 2 more hours that lady was in labor, and she's been asking for a C-section allegedly since early in the daytime. But now you're going to try to C-section the baby while half of the head is in utero coming out. That doesn't even make any sense. Do y'all understand? Kind of the baby head is probably crowned at this point, and the shoulders is stuck. So she had to go in there and kind of stretch around. And I'm not a specialized in delivery, but I did watch the videos and I do know about certain stuff. That video made me, I didn't like them in nursing school, but we got to know some things. She's supposed to go around the head and grab the shoulder and turn the shoulder. That's it. That just, I mean, sound easier said than done. But traction, at least several months have been, okay, so it says, okay, the baby body and legs then delivered at 12:11. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm dragging it. I do apologize. The baby head was delivered vaginally. These last several months have been too much to bear for Ross. Taking it day by day. Ross has said this is scary, crazy, and traumatizing, which it is. So it's 2 lawsuits filed. I knew it because it ain't no way. It's no way. But the hospital and the doctor is going to be named in the same lawsuit, even though the hospital trying to separate themselves. That's why I ain't trust them. I ain't trust them with a 10-foot pole because I knew when something happened, they're going to be like, I don't know you, Lashley. You a contractor. And this is what they do to us. Okay. So, the couple accused Dr. Jackson Gate of taking $2,500 to perform an autopsy on the baby, then posting a full face picture and video of his organs on Instagram. My baby was on Instagram where Dr. Gates posted pictures of my baby. The lawsuit stated that the couple never gave Gates permission to record the autopsy or publish it any image. Now, recording it is one thing. I know that they'll probably do that for medical purposes. And sometimes if you don't pay attention to the disclosure, they'll say they'll use it for scholastic purposes as well, sharing it for learning videos. So you got to be aware of that. So this is the particular lawsuit. We're not going to get into that today, but maybe we'll follow up because they're going to have 2. So we probably read 2. Okay. Because this is the first award and we'll follow up since it's a formal lawsuit, and y'all know I'm a legal nursing consultant. She has the case just need to be settled right now, plain and simple. So the doctor defended himself. Gates defended himself, saying that he was outraged by the baby death, as well as anything he posted on social media was for educational purposes only. I knew he was going to try to say that. I want you to hear this clearly. I will never divulge the identity or disclosure the identity of any living patient or any deceased patient that come for my care, Dr. Gates said in his own defense in the video on Instagram. So at the end of the day, he thought he was going viral, and now he is $2.25 million in the hole, which is his insurance company and the liability company at the end of the day. So we're going to be following through because this couple does have another lawsuit that's going to be focused on the actual hospital. So since y'all know a little bit more of allegedly what happened, when we look at the lawsuit, we're going to be able to compare and contrast because this is a particular case that I know about in real time, honestly. So I do want to say this. One of the reasons why I stayed at the particular hospital, hold on one second, when I recontract for that hospital, knowing all the stuff that I was going to tell you in the other video, is as I mentioned, there are some good nurses out there. There are good people who really work hard. And some people are so used to a social norm and they say, hey, that's just the way things go, that they put up with things and they're afraid to move. So it's not only what we saw happen in the politics that we've been talking about, but it also happens in healthcare. That's why I said I can understand literally leaving an industry that mimics what we have been showing here on this channel when it comes to police brutality, things they suffer, or the trouble that they put themselves into just by following the status quo, knowing that it's dead wrong, knowing that they should be just going to jail themselves. Plain and simple. All right. So I want you guys to take the time. Again, I'm going to show you this page. I didn't know I had a secret squirrel page, dog. I'm always on a creep. So because I was having so much issues with YouTube respecting my medical license and literally researchable, and I even sent them a video with all my credentials. They kept saying my information was medical misinformation. Now, this was a time around COVID. So you know what was happening. And I was black, the only black one talking against. So I was in deep okay. I got a whole secret squirrel page that y'all don't know about, but I had to let a lot of that off my chest. So this is the particular page. So it's on Rumble. Check it out. I'm going to put that down there for you. That was like my nursing therapy page. And just to show y'all, I have a lot of videos up there. I started talking about so many other stuff, but it was more so wrapped around the Ovid, clots, a lot of stuff. Y'all see that? That's all Grace Levi right there. This one did real good. To study the risk of serious blood clots up to 6 months after Ovid. Y'all see how I used to break down the cases here? This is how I was breaking down information here. So check out this other page, okay? That's my other side, dog. Now, let's move on to another serious issue. Thank you for being here with Grace Levi. You know what we do. I'm like an onion. Get to know me, okay? Anytime you need any advice, just let me know. I can definitely point you to the right direction. If I can't guide you myself, I can point you to resources. That's the most important. So this particular, this is the next story I'm just going to talk about. It's really troubling, and I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't know how to take this thing. Now, this happened actually in Atlanta as well. That's what I said. What is going on around here? And this is how disrespectful this was. This was May 25th, 2025. This was Daily Mail. Do you see this article title? Disrespect our sister and the family. A corpse expecting a baby, pregnant, Adriana brain dead, and decompensating, but doctors won't turn off life support. Now her life's family says is torture in case that divides the world. Now, this is related to the abortion restriction. And because she's pregnant and the baby still had past, well, there's no way they stop abortion, period. It's not even on their 20 weeks. But the baby had a viable heartbeat after, I believe, she was in a car accident. Let's just read this. In the intensive care unit of the hospital in Atlanta, Georgia, lies a patient whose faith has been set millions of her following Americans at each other's throat. So I'm sorry, fellow. I do apologize. I'm like following fellow Americans. All right. So this is the argument. They're not fighting, however, over the 30-year-old Miss Smith rights to live, but her rights to die. Andrea, a local nurse. She is a local nurse. And this is what makes it even bad. And nurses, that's what I've told y'all. We are not different from the public. While you're in there, they will use you until you fall and bust your head on the floor. And I know watch nurses literally fall, hit their head on the floor in the morning, and they like, get up, get up, get up. Send her to the ED and ask her when she coming to work that night. I'm like, yo, did y'all not see her pass out on this floor? And when I say I'm not exaggerating, I'm not. So nurses, be aware of this, that you will be looked at the same way as any other patient, no matter what your credentialing is. Even doctors, okay, just to get a little straight. One of the doctors it was a prominent doctor out here. Also, it was like an elected official that was pushing. It was something about the inoculation or the mask. Whatever it was controversy. And when he was in the hospital, what I heard, the way they treated him, because he was acting crazy, baby, they treated him like a regular patient. They locked that damn door and walk away. And I'm not being funny. That's not what I do. But that's what some of these nurses do. That's what some of these doctors do. Shoot you up with some stuff, tie you down, and keep it moving. Not even worry that you can't even breathe. Now, I'm dead serious, okay? This is one of the reasons why I walked away from healthcare. But I will say that there are a lot of life-saving measures that actually help. As an ICU nurse, it gave me a little bit more because I started to be able to see change right away. Because just seeing people come in, stabilize them, they come back, blood pressure back up, heart rate. It was really like, okay. Then I went into the ICU and I could see, somebody's heart rate is messed up. Here we giving them this, we doing this. Here we put them on a ventilator, we got them back. That gave me a little bit of life. But then when I still see some of the treatment post-care, in between care, I'm like, I can't. Okay. So this is what it is. So she was 9 weeks pregnant when she went to the hospital back in February seeking treatment for an intense headache. Doctors sent her home with some medication, but they did not conduct a CT scan. The next morning, she woke up struggling to breathe and making a terrifying gurgle sound. So it sounded like she bust the clot to me. She sounded like she had a blood clot somewhere. The hospital discovered that she had a blood clot in her brain, exactly. And after an unsuccessful surgery to relieve the pressure, she was declared brain dead. Given she already have a 7-year-old son who will now be left without a mother, the situation for Adriana and her loved ones already are terrible. However, the critic says that the situation has turned from tragedy into an absolute horror show. Oh my God. Y'all, I did not know this was Emory Hospital. I hope it's not the Emory Hospital. It got to be the Emory Hospital I was talking about. I'm going to check to see what Emory Hospital is. This one Emory Hospital that I love because they're so thorough. The doctors are so nice, but it is a teaching hospital and it's right connected to the library down there. If this is the hospital, I'm going to be like, oh my God, please don't give me post-traumatic stress. I loved it, you. Okay. Emory Hospital is a really good hospital, though. They thorough what they do. So for them to be able to keep her alive all this time, they were giving her immaculate care as far as her being brain dead and keeping her on the ventilator and keeping the baby nutrients and everything like that. Oh my God. And it says where she previously worked. Hold on. Why is this thing in my way? Okay, Andrea, and that's where she previously worked. So Andrea family stated, although she was legally dead, she was not allowed to die. The apparent reason, according to the hospital spokesman, is that it's actually in compliance with the Georgia abortion law. So this is her, and I want to send love and blessings to her. I'm looking at her and I can't say that I recall her face. I met a lot of nurses out here. I want to make some phone calls because I met a lot of nurses out here. And it's so crazy because I did 2 contracts at Emory. I did one at Midtown and then we did the another one. What was the other Emory? It was Midtown and no, only one contract at Emory because that contract made me lose 15 pounds. Yeah, It wasn't the hospital that I like. It was another Emory location. That's how bad it was. Man, in a 13-week contract, my skinny butt lost 15 pounds. Literally trying to save my license and save patients. Another horror story. So this right here, just getting back to this particular situation, I want to send love and blessings to her. And it really hurts to know that she was a nurse and worked for this particular facility. And I'm trying to determine, did they look at her as a guinea pig? Or they looked at her in the they looked at the situation in the capacity of law because of the abortion law. What do you think? Because what some people are saying outside of healthcare, and some people in the tech industry, and also some people in the transgender industry, they're trying to use certain studies like that to see how can they keep a fetus alive in different situations, especially in an intubated body, So I don't know if this type of situation can be used as a foundation, but I really do think that's why I'm like, this is a two-sided thing, because the abortion law, I understand, especially if the baby had a viable heart, but this is unconventional. They had to do extreme planning, extreme healthcare directives had to be given. They had to have their top nurses on her to make sure. Once you have her stable, you have someone who is comatose, there is medication that can keep all of her vital organs replenished with blood, basically keeping the heart rate going. The ventilator will keep the oxygen going. There are ways to do that, but for such a long period of time. So this is another thing that we want to keep in mind. Mom was saying that it's going to be hard for her, the mother, because she has to basically take care of the grandson, the 7-year-old, and now the baby, because it's not like the baby is property of the state. The grandmother is the one that has to actually take care of the child. Now, I'm not sure if the child came out regular, and that's what I want to follow up with. We're going to do a part 2, because I don't know if the child came out with any head injuries. It says baby delivered prematurely. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this article right here. Let's see real quick. Thank you for being here. I appreciate this, guys. This is a topic that's dear to my heart. I really don't share it on YouTube or this page, especially because what I went through before. I just started a whole new page. Like, I'm not about to let y'all suppress me. I don't care if 2 people listen to me. I'm a healthcare provider. And this ended up being the hospital that I walked away from because I knew they were going to do stuff, that other hospital. And Emory, as I mentioned, this is a good hospital. I contract here. I lost 15 pounds at one of the locations. Them nurses mean as shit. What? They give you all the hard patients while they send me at coloring, doing nothing. Anyway, let me move on. Baby delivered prematurely by brain dead woman on life support in Georgia. So here we go. At the age of 31, Miss Smith baby was born prematurely by the emergency C-section earlier Friday. The Atlanta section reported Monday night. She was about 6 months into her pregnancy. They were going to see this out. The baby named Chance weighs 1 pound and 13 ounces. They didn't even meet the smallest requirement for preemie. So this baby, once you get under two pounds, you could, like, just about 2 pounds, you could be considered a preemie. So they had to keep him in the intensive care unit until he got some weight on him. He's expected to be okay. I know they got him on a ventilator or they got him on oxygen. So Newkirk told the TV station he's just fighting. We just want prayers for him. Newkirk said her daughter, now Newkirk is the mother, said her daughter had intense headaches before the 4 months ago and went to the Atlanta Northside Hospital. Oh my God. Y'all gonna be like, your contract there too? Yup. Northside Hospital was the hospital that I did before I went to Jersey. And Northside Hospital, that's ran me. I had some Karens up in there. I was up there by Gainesville. I had some Karens trying to knock me out. Old ladies couldn't do it. Yeah, shout out to y'all if you ever see Nurse Lashley. I told you so. Okay, they give. I'm gonna say this. They have a lot of new nurses in Northside Hospital. New graduates. The ICU nurses. I don't like them. They arrogant, and I don't like arrogant nurses. They're not friendly. That's why I had to transfer between ICU, go to PCU, because I needed to be around some people who was nice and human. The doctors, when you get it to ICU level, the doctors and the nurses is a whole nother personality switch. I'd be like, baby, that's why I came to YouTube talking so much. I was at night just quiet, like, I need my job. I need my job. I'm just playing. Just focus on my patients, because the level of arrogance for me, that's one of the things that actually kill patients as well too, literally. And so it is either arrogance, disregarding our community, or like I said, yeah, or is it a spirit? They're experimenting. Sometimes some of our diagnose like things that happen to us is so like they can't treat it. You know why? Because a lot of the conventional medicine is based on the Anglo-Saxon, European genetic makeup. You go look at it, and they only have certain tests that gets us, and it's two reasons. One, because people like us don't trust them. We don't be wanting to do none of those damn trials. Only thing most we'll do as Black people is give our blood. That's one of the things. And then two, they don't really aim to come to our community. I think too also because we have that fear of what happened with the Tuskegee Airmen. You see what I'm saying? And if you remember that video I just played the other day, the Boule member that was over there, over the hospital, he was Black. So we be nervous. I'm just gonna keep it real. So I understand. That's why when I talk to my patients, I really like talk to them, so they can understand the healthcare continuum and kind of take the fear out of them. But that only happens when you empower yourself. So in this particular situation, I don't even think that they could empower themselves just because of the rollback of the Abortion Act on a federal level. Okay. So now Mom Newkirk basically said that her daughter went to Atlantic Northside Hospital. So I could see why she was transferred out. I could see why. They okay. But they like take me to the Black hospital. That's probably what they said. It is kind of diverse up there though, but it's not diverse with more Black people. It was like more Indian, Spanish, Caucasian. I didn't have a lot of black patients when I was up there. I'm gonna be honest, because I pay attention to my geographics. So she probably wanted to come to Emory one because it's a good hospital and is in the middle of Atlanta. I'm just being honest. So the next morning, her boyfriend woke and she was gasping for air, called 911. And so Northside sent her home. She went home, had to call 911, and Emory Hospital. She was transferred to Emory Hospital. That's where they determined that she had a blood clot in her brain and that she was declared brain dead. She was 8 weeks pregnant, according to WXIA. So this is another thing, as they stated. Okay, so this lawsuit is going. This one now. Mom has a lawsuit here too with Northside. A CT should have been done, plain and simple. Anything that involved headaches, blurry vision, anything neuro should have been a CT, especially highlighting all of the neuro and cardiovascular issues we've been having since after the COVID. That's one of the reasons why I left nursing too, because to have all of these new type of signs and symptoms that was heavy, I mean, like person heart rate 115, 158, 179, 92, 56, 144. I'm like, what is going on here? It was very unconventional. And then you have the doctors that don't want to acknowledge everything and then kind of like throwing stuff there. That was very stressful for me, on top of just the dynamics. Just to keep it real, a lot have changed in healthcare after that. And I started noticing people coming in with big clots. That's what's on my page. I did all the research. And once I was researching and people kind of acting like they not seeing what they saw on the CT that I saw, and I can't combat what the doctors say, what the CT reporters say. I can't go rewrite it. but I could look and say, whoa, this is different. Nobody see that? This is normal scar tissue. So some of that stuff really made me like step back just to keep it real. And I think with that being said, mama have a lawsuit. They need to check Northside out. I'm gonna be honest. I was in situations where if I could I won't be surprised if they give me a call. I wasn't the end result of that patient, but I definitely saw what was going on. I made sure. It's giving me patients crashing out all day. 2 minutes of me into the shift, I have to send that patient to the other unit. Literally. I was on a PCU unit at Northside. So I had to send that patient to the ICU. Literally almost holding that patient down by myself. I'm having flashback here, y'all. Thank you for the therapy session. Okay. Y'all see how I'm just like, just having flashback. So Northside was like that, sent her home, possible lawsuit, in my opinion. Emory, I don't know if they hypervigilant because of the law and she had a viable heartbeat, or if they wanted to use this as a point of experiment. Okay, we got a lot going on, and we have a lot of people that's tied into these big corporations that want to see some things. And it's true. I know y'all don't like that word experiment, but sometimes even at your primary care physician, I'm just going to leave off on this note. I'm going to be honest. When they try to just give you a new medicine and you've been taking medicine for a while and it's cool, just stay still. Because sometimes they're lobbied, just like your politicians, by Big Pharma. They come around in a little suit, little sales guy that don't know nothing about the medicine, just know a little punchline, blah, 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 and sell them like, hey, instead of taking, I'm gonna give you an example. Instead of taking metformin, we're gonna do met on the go. That's a new combination. Da 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 da. Now, mind you, if you sell it, you'll get $5 per prescription, and that's not a joke. That's not a joke. Now, the negotiations are not that open that we can see it on a hospital level, but in those doctor's office, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So just be careful, guys. I need you to ask questions. I'm going to leave off on a note like a nurse today. I'm going to need you guys to be aware of what goes on around you. Ask questions, write it down, take a picture. You as a patient has the right to record. We can't record you, but you can record us. Who said it, when they said it, how they said it, what medications they're giving you. You have the right to ask. You should not ask because guess what? They supposed to say, hey, what's your name? What's your date of birth? This is the medication you're getting. What's your pain scale? What's your blood pressure? Oh, go look at your blood. So you should ask, but because of procedures, you shouldn't have to ask. So if you just getting the medicine and they're not telling you, push the call bell. Ask for a charge nurse. Ask for them to ask what is the procedures. You don't know what they're getting. And if you feel like it's someone that you can't trust, you can always ask for another nurse. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to get you the best results because they probably give you somebody else that's aggravating as all hell. But what I can say is if you try to work out a working relationship with your nurse and your healthcare providers, and if that doesn't work, make sure that you have your family around to basically advocate for you. If you can't write it down, take a picture, record it, have them do it. Have someone come visit you around the clock. I'm dead up, especially if you got to be in these units more than one day. Okay? So we're going to be following up with some more topics here. I think some things has been going down in Harvey that I may can give some of my expertise to. I'm going to keep you guys posted. It looks like Mayor Clark is up to no good. We definitely keep you up to date with that. And I also want to say this. Levi family, I love you and I want to say thank you. No matter what y'all have seen, as I mentioned on my post this morning, I ask for you guys to continue to support Miss Cara and Lexi. Whatever happened was outside of their scope and they have nothing to do with it. There's still justice that needs to be served for Alexis and Cara. So if you love her and you really understood what we have shown you or what I was able to show you in the last couple of months, the truth, and discover more about it, and you have more questions, continue to follow, continue to support Cara, okay? Continue to support those who are going to finish the investigation. I'm smiling. I'm not being fictitious, but just continue. I love her. Love and blessings is gonna go to her, and go to the butterfly release, y'all. Even if I can't come, go. You know why? Because y'all donations matter, as well as my donation matter. So I want you guys to go enjoy. Right. So with that being said, you have a great evening, and we have some things coming up for you this weekend. Okay. Have a blessed one, and please hit the like button, because you know what we're gonna be doing here every day.
Guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany A. Hilliard, the People's Mayor. So, you guys doing a lot of snitching, and y'all.
Hey, everybody clap your hands. They not like us. I took a pocket to pool. Hey, they not like us. I took a pocket to pay. Take it for hey. You a rapper, you a whippersnapper. You ain't been doing nothing. Have you ever had in the studio? Cause you should've got low. I got